Thank you for tuning in to the Life of KG podcast. We are all about helping you guys in the beauty industry. Whether you're starting out in this industry or been in the business for years, we want to motivate you, educate you, and support you to grow. Enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to A Life of KG. So today I want to talk to you about leadership, and leadership is extremely important when it comes to running a business and a salon. A lot of the time, if we ever encounter problems, we're quick to look at our team, but actually we don't look at ourselves and what leadership is going on within the company. So today I wanted to bring in Nina. Nina's been in the industry for 23 years as a hairstylist, but also a salon owner. She had her salon for 11 successful years and then went on to become an international business consultant, empowering salon owners. So we are going to talk to Nina today about leadership, as this is what she specializes in. So without further ado, here she is. Hi Nina, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yay, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. So can you tell our listeners who you are and what exactly you do?
Yes, so I am a former salon owner and hairstylist. I owned a salon in Allentown, Pennsylvania, so from the United States. I owned that salon for about 11 years, and I sold it back in 2016, and I was also a hairstylist for just about 20 years as well, working behind the chair. And I decided to sell my business because there were several reasons, but one of the main reasons was that I wanted to start my own consulting business so I can travel the country, helping, guiding, inspiring, educating other salon owners and hairstylists how to run their business. So I actually focus solely on the business side of the industry. I don't do any teaching technically, balayage haircuts, none of that. That was never my jam. I just love growing people. So I started this consulting business called 1N Agency in 2017. I'm coming up on my 3 years. I can't believe how time flies by. And it really has been an amazing journey. And I've met incredible people like you and so many other stylists and salon owners around the country. And we were able to kind of just work together and really change the mindset of what it means to be a hairstylist and a salon owner in the industry right now.
I absolutely love that. And it's so important. I've said this many times on the podcast, how important it is to have a consultant or a coach or a mentor, like when you are in business, because it can be extremely lonely, and just someone to be able to bounce ideas off and stay positive all the time. Like, it helps so much.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Because I felt a lot alone when I was a salon owner, because I truly feel that you can't relate to someone unless they are in your shoes. So that's why I think the camaraderie between hairstylists and salon owners is so important, because they truly are the only ones that understand what you're going through day to day. They understand situations, they understand people, they understand how the business works. And so it's so important to have a coach or a mentor or someone that you can bounce ideas off of, but also feel that your voice is being heard and that you're not alone.
Yes, definitely. So this kind of podcast I wanted to do because I wanted to talk about leadership. And I know this is kind of one of your favorite topics and you specialize in this area. So what would you say leadership is and what makes a good leader?
So yeah, this is definitely, I feel, is the foundation. So you as a salon owner and leader, you are the foundation to your business. So leadership is it has to be so strong in order for you to continue to guide and lead a team. And I feel like great qualities in a leader. I mean, I learned very early on just from my mentors that leaders always see the furthest into the horizon. So they always see the big picture. They see the bigger vision for the business. They're not living or thinking in smaller terms. So the leader always has to be a few steps ahead in terms of what the mission is for the business, what the vision is for the business long-term, talking 2-3 years ahead. If you're a salon owner, you should be thinking 2-3 years ahead in your business. So long-term vision for business and brand is probably most important. But then there are other key qualities. Being a good listener is very important. Accountability is probably the number one. I actually just did a post about this today about being accountable for yourself, but also holding your team accountable. I feel that the follow through with accountability is so incredibly important to help create other leaders in your business. And without the accountability, everybody just kind of does what they want. There's no there's no action, or there's no accountability if they're doing something that the salon owner doesn't like. So accountability is key. Also, I feel what I feel is regular, just being honest, integrity, making sure that you follow through and do what you say you're going to do. If you hire a team member and you promise them XYZ, that you deliver on XYZ. That's how you build trust with your team. So yeah, I mean, all of the things that I feel that we should be doing on a regular basis, being kind. But in terms of being a strong leader, it really is about the first two that I mentioned, and that is seeing the bigger picture. So being a visionary, and also accountability, and wanting to create other leaders. So I was kind of always taught to lead from the back. You let everybody else shine first, and you encourage them, and you inspire them, and you give them direction. That's why people are working for you. And you can do that from behind. You don't have to be the center of attention. And so I like to lead that way, and really kind of lead from the back. I can also see in front of everybody too. I could see everybody in front of me. When you lead from the back, you can see your people and what they're doing. And so constant re-encouragement, constant support. And, I think those are really the top key components of being a strong leader.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with all of that. Do you think being a leader is something that's comes naturally to people? Do you think it's teachable? I know that a lot of times in our industry, people are really good therapists or hairdressers, and then become to be these salon owners and open salons, and then it kind of needs to be taught to them because it might not come naturally. So what do you think? Do you think it's you have it naturally as a gift, or do you think it's teachable to be a leader?
So I think it can be learned. I think you can learn to be a great leader if you apply yourself, but I also do believe that there are certain people that are born with natural tendencies to be great leaders. So just because you may have those qualities that you are a natural born leader, if you will, it doesn't mean that you don't have to work on it. You still have to continue to work on it and educate yourself. But yes, there are differences. I feel like some people, they slide right into it and they're natural born leaders, and they inspire, and they just have a way about them and a presence about them where people want to be led by them. And then there are other people who really have to learn how to be a leader. You're really intensive education, a lot of reading. Now there are some qualities and characteristics that you can't teach, right? You either have integrity or you don't. You're either honest or you're not. Those are things that you can't learn. But in terms of being a visionary, in terms of accountability and follow through, those are things that you can learn along the way. And, you're right. You mentioned something about hairstylist being, therapist and all of the things that we are behind the chair, right? And then when you become a salon owner, this is one of the biggest problems that we have in the industry. There's no school, college for salon owners to start taking a course to say, yes, now I'm going to be a leader and a salon owner. What does that look like? So a lot of hairstylists believe, because they're so busy behind the chair, they're 90% booked, they're bringing in 3, 4, 5, 6 grand a week, that the natural step then for them is to become a leader. But when you have a team of people that are relying on you every single day, and you don't have a solid brand or solid systems or solid processes, and you don't have that strong foundation as a human and as a leader, that's where things can go wrong. And I think a lot of times that's what happens, unfortunately, in our business, and why salons close, is because it is the lack of leadership, and just because there really isn't a ton of information and schooling for stylists to become owners. And that's what I'm trying to do. I really want to be able to encourage and support salon owners so they work from a space of confidence and not from a space of fear. And if you're not strong within yourself as a leader, sometimes you start to become fear-based, and you make decisions out of fear and instead of facts and confidence. So Yeah, I got a little off track there, but I think I answered your I think I answered your question.
So I'm going to go off track now. Do you think that if you're a salon manager or owner, or the person that's obviously being in lead within the salon, that they should be behind the chair then? Or do you think they should be working on their business and out of the salon? Because I know when I teach my business students, I teach them to come out of the salon and not be in the chair because they can't concentrate on that leadership and building the business. Would you agree on that? Or what do you kind of teach?
So it depends on really what the goal is for the owner. You know, there are some salon owners that really want to work behind the chair forever, and that's their jam because they want to fulfill that creative side to them. And I get that, but there has to be balance. You have to work on the business as much as you're working in the business. So what I recommend for salon owners, if you're working behind the chair 4 days a week, you may have to cut back a day where you can just spend that one day working on the business, marketing strategies, growth plans, training, hiring, onboarding, you know, creating your budget plan for next year. These are all things that you have to think about. So I believe you can do both, but you have to have strict boundaries in how you're working this business. Now, if someone wants to have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 salons, you know, like you're building this franchise and empire. Yeah, at some point, I think you're going to have to decide what's important. You know, do you really want to continue to be behind the chair? Maybe it's only one day a week, but the rest of the days you're focusing on growing the business. It all really depends on the goal. I worked behind the chair 4 days a week. And then as I started to really grow the business, I had to take a step back and say, okay, what is my long-term vision for this business? And I remember my mentor always saying to me from day one, Nina, if you want to continue to grow your business and you want to have it be successful and profitable, you have to get away from working behind the chair. And so that's what I did. I stepped away, I backed down, worked 3 days, then worked 2 days, then 1 day, and then completely stopped working behind the chair. But there's a strategy to that. You can't just do it. Because you have to be able to monetarily you have to be able to afford it, because you're losing your own revenue behind the chair, and understanding that if you're a commission salon, now you're going to be giving your commission, not your commission, but your revenue to another hairstylist. So you have to make sure that the numbers work too. I think it can be done, but it has to be strategically planned, and you have to be very strict on how you're showing up every day, you know, and make time to work on the business, not just in the business.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And do you miss doing hair and being behind the chair?
You know what? Okay, so I loved working behind the chair and creating the bond and the special relationships that I had with my guests. I love my guests, and I still have, you know, relationships with them even to this point. However, before I even started my salon business, I knew that my strength wasn't behind the chair. It was always with growing the business and growing people. So when I stopped working behind the chair, I was ready. Just physically, it was very hard for me after being behind the chair for 20 years. And then also I'm a dancer, so I had to have ankle surgery. You know, my shoulders were getting frozen. My wrists were hurting, you know, just everyday pains, my knees, you know, working behind the chair and standing every day is not an easy thing. So when I stopped working behind the chair, I was ready. I can honestly say that I don't necessarily miss it. I feel like, because I think if I miss it, I would have the urge to want to go back and do it. And I don't. I feel like it was such a great part of my life and my journey and story. But I don't know. It feels like it's been so long for me now. It's been almost 3-4 years that I haven't cut hair, and I loved it. But I think that part of my life has kind of sailed, you know, that ship has sailed, if you will.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I kind of still miss, like, I do obviously lashes. Like, I miss lashing in salon, and I have lashed now in salon. Other than my staff members, and when they really need like the lashes doing, I'm like, oh my god, I'll do it, because I still want to keep my hand in still. But doing clients like every day, I'm like, yeah, I kind of miss it, but I kind of don't. I don't really know. And when you find a passion somewhere else, like my passion's the business, like that's now overtaken my passion of doing lashes, even though lashes as a sector is obviously still my passion. So yeah, it's interesting. So want to go to a question that is always kind of on my mind, and I'm not kind of sure what I think. But like I said, leadership and I think entrepreneurship is very different. It just because you're a leader doesn't necessarily mean that you're an entrepreneur. But do you think you're born an entrepreneur, or do you think you're made as an entrepreneur? What would you say? Because obviously you are, I see, quite naturally an entrepreneur. Would you say you were born like that?
I think that, yeah, I mean, my mom always told me, even when I was young, that I was kind of like the leader of the group and my friends. And, my style was a lot different then. When you're a kid, you're like, do that now, you fix that. It's so different. Of course, you scale back a bit when you become an adult. But I think the entrepreneurial brain is so wired to hustle and grind and never give up and, put your life savings into a passion in something that you believe in. And, I know a lot of people selling their home and moving back in with their family because they have this dream and this business that they believe in. I don't necessarily think that's for everyone. Because there has to be a deep-seated root and desire to continue to understand that it never stops. When you're an entrepreneur, you are thinking while you're sleeping. You are up all day thinking of what's next. How can I build? How can I become better? How can I become stronger? How can I help more? So that brain, that mindset is not for everybody, and you can be a great leader, like you mentioned, and not necessarily want to be a serial entrepreneur or even an entrepreneur and open up businesses. But I think that the entrepreneurial mindset is a different kind of mindset. And it is that constant eat, sleep, breathe, never give up on my dream, no matter what happens. And that's a special person. I don't know if that is necessarily can be learned, if you will. I think that's something that, or, maybe in thinking, if someone comes up with this passion, like I watch Shark Tank, I don't know if you watch that where you are, but I love that show. And, you see people who have quit their jobs, their corporate jobs that are making so much money, and they just found this product or this business that they truly believed in. But as I'm thinking about it, they all have that spirit of don't stop, won't stop, can't stop, never going to give up, sell my home, sell my cars, do whatever I have to do to make this work. And that's kind of the difference. And not everybody has that. And not everybody wants that, to be honest. I mean, not everybody wants that hustle and grind all the time. It's not a very balanced, it's not a very balanced life. But I don't necessarily know if being an entrepreneur can be learned. I think that's really deep within inside you.
Yeah, I agree. And that just made me think, like, sometimes, like, when business gets really hard, or I think of another idea, I'm like, why am I like this? Why can't I just be normal? And then, like, and you just can't do it. You end up going back to doing it again. And it's just, yeah, definitely. I do think that you're born like it. And then I think that you learn along the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. I've just always wanted to ask that question, because I'm just like, what does everyone else think? So what would you say has been, like, some of the bad things you've heard around leadership within a salon and business? Like, how does it affect them? You must go into loads of salons and think, oh, this needs changing or that needs changing. What are some of the worst things that you've been told that where it affects the salon?
You know what, honestly, the thing that just keeps coming up for me is the lack of accountability on the salon owner's end. And again, it's just because they haven't been taught and they are operating from a space of fear. So a lot of times, and in most cases, if a salon owner has a hairstylist that is the driving force behind their business, meaning they're the most profitable, they're bringing in the most revenue, they let that hairstylist do whatever they want. They don't have to follow the rules. There's no accountability if they come in late, or if they have a ton of reservices, or if they, get mouthy with another stylist. There's no accountability on their end. So they just do whatever they want because they bring in the money. That, and then also I see that happening often. And then also on the other side of that is, hairstylists are, there's not a big training program or onboarding program that the salon owner has created. So stylists come in, assistants, receptionists come in, and they don't know what's expected of them. They don't know what to do. They don't have protocol. Maybe they're not greeting clients properly or answering the phone properly, and because there's no training. There's no onboarding. There's nothing set aside for that. And so then what happens is the hairstylist just kind of does what they think is right. And then the salon owner gets frustrated because then there's no accountability, because they don't follow through. They're like, okay, well, she's not answering the phone that way. I'll tell her and tell her and tell her. And if she doesn't do it correctly, nothing happens. It's kind of like a slap on the wrist. What happens over time with these two situations is that hairstylists start to lose faith in the owner and the leader of the business. And they start to feel like this salon owner may not have a bigger vision for the business, and they're just kind of flying by the seat of their pants, just showing up day to day. And the stylists and assistants and receptionists stop showing up the way that they should, because they feel like, okay, if the leader isn't doing XYZ in which they promised, why should I? Mm-hmm. Then you get stylists that, when they see a hairstylist that's a top earner, seeing them do whatever they want, getting away with whatever they want, they feel like, why should I do my job? I'm doing well here and I'm doing my job and I'm showing up the way that I'm supposed to. I get no praise, but the person that's not doing what they're supposed to gets all the praise in the world and they get to kind of do what they want. I've seen salon owners lose their top stylists because of this type of situation. And so again, it really is about having systems, having a strong brand, having processes, and also being a strong leader and understanding what it takes to really run, grow, and have a sustainable business. And the majority of it is dealing with people. Yeah. It's understanding yourself as a leader and what type of leader you are, but also understanding how to talk to people and how to coach them and nurture them and love on them and then hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. So it could destroy, I've seen it destroy salons. Unfortunately, it's really sad.
That is sad. And I do hear that quite a lot. And it's just, like you said, it's fear, isn't it? They see their salon doing so well. And then they're like, oh, but if this person goes, the whole salon's going to go under, where it's not at all. Like, they just need to manage it and lead it correctly.
Right. And can I just add one more thing? Because this was just the current thing. I'm sorry. Another thing I hear often, and you may hear this too, is I don't hold them accountable because I'm scared they'll leave. Mm-hmm. Right. The salon owner is fear-based, right? So they're scared that the stylist is going to leave, and they're like, what am I going to do with this business if I lose my whole team? So they don't hold anybody accountable because they don't want to upset the apple cart or ruffle any feathers. But at the end of the day, if you're not holding them accountable and staying true to what you promised, you're going to lose them anyway. Yeah. So people are either on board with your brand vision and mission for your business, or they're not. But of course, with coaching, the leader has to step up and coach them and do one-on-one coaching meetings every month and spend time with them and understand how they function and tick and what their goals are and what their desires are, and really help them get there. That's the part of being a leader. But after that, if there's no progress, then they just may not be a fit for your brand, and then you kind of have to move on.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, like, good leader, good team, and we all want a happy team. How does it uplift the team if there is a good leader, and whether that's the salon owner or a manager, because obviously sometimes the salon owner might never be there. There might be a manager in charge. And obviously we need a happy team for then it to be a successful salon. Right. So what would you say uplifts the team, being a leader?
What uplifts the team, number one, I feel, is the mindset of the leader. So if a salon owner comes in and they're Debbie Downer and they're complaining and they're constantly worried and they're working from that space, that's not uplifting. That's not positive. As leaders, we have to learn to put our happy face on no matter what is going on in our lives. So I always feel like coming in with a smile, having an upbeat, positive attitude no matter what is going on, asking people, your team, how they're doing, do they need help with anything, constantly trying to inspire them and have them reach their goals, but also consistency. Those one-on-one coaching sessions and team meetings that should be happening every single month, that is key to uplifting the team, because the team always feels included and they feel heard. So those are two of the reasons why stylists will stay with you: if they feel included, if they feel challenged, if they feel heard. And the one-on-one coaching sessions give the stylist the opportunity to be heard, and in the meeting as well, And so I think it's a constant thing of listening and action. Now, listen, it doesn't mean that you're going to do everything that your team asks you, right? Because sometimes they come up with these ideas and you're like, that doesn't fit with my brand. but at least you acknowledge that you hear them. If there's a problem within the salon, you listen to them and you do what you feel is best for the business. They just want to be heard. So it's that constant reassurance, that constant coaching, and really being upbeat within yourself. You know, you have to walk the walk as a salon owner and leader. You have to show up and be the example for your team in all ways. You know, I used to clean the bathroom just like everybody else in my business. I would never ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. And so we all had duties. Me too. You know, even when I wasn't working behind the chair, I kept myself on the duty list because I wanted to be a part of the team and show them that I was still involved. You know, this is also my business. So, hey, you have to clean the bathroom? Me too. So I think that there's a lot of things that go into that, and continuing to uplift the team, but also not letting team members stay on the team that are not uplifted and not uplifting, right?
Yeah.
You know, not letting team members stay on the team that are draining and negative. Again, that's the accountability side too.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, because I exactly say I will never get anyone to do anything that I wouldn't do either. So it's funny that you say that. And like in my salon, I don't do treatments anymore. But say, for example, on a Friday, I get there much earlier to then do all the floors and everything. So they don't have to do it on the Saturday, so they don't have to stay later. So it's just making sure that you still, chip in and do things. And like I said, doing duties like everyone else. And what other tips would you give to running a good team for leaders? Because a lot of the time now I'm seeing a lot on forums, definitely on the Facebook forums, that salon owners are like wanting to sell their businesses, they're wanting to give up, and it's really sad, because when they're not happy when running a business, and it should be one of the happiest times, like you're doing something that you love, that's the reason you went into it. And when you ask them why, it always comes down to my staff, like that's always the problem. So what tips would you give them?
So this is actually a really great question. And so I believe that the biggest thing is, you know, when I work with and when I coach salon owners, the biggest thing that I ask them to do within themselves is to self-assess. As a leader and as a salon owner, you have to take a step back and start to scan yourself and say, what can I do better? What can I change? What can I implement that will make this salon run better and more efficiently and effectively? And, you know, I had someone ask me the other day, you know, if my business isn't running properly and it's not successful, what part of it is on the team and what part of it is on me? And I said, it's 100% on the owner. It's never the team's fault when the business isn't doing well. It's never the client's fault when the business isn't doing well. 100% of the success and 100% of the failure always rides on the shoulders of the leader of the business. And so my advice would be, if you're having some difficulty and challenges in your business, take a step back and say, what could I do differently? What systems can I implement? What strategies can I start to create? What processes can I add that will help create more consistency for the business? How can I show up and be more positive? How can I show up and be more inspiring and encouraging? How can I educate? How can I communicate better? So it's really like this self-assessment all the time. It's not fun. You know, I used to do this with myself, and, you know, if I were to have to fire someone, or if I lost one of my stylists, I would always, after they left, I would sit back and think to myself, how could I have handled that differently? How could what systems can I implement that will make the hiring process longer? So I do more research before I bring someone on. How could I listen better? You know, you really have to, and it's not fun, because you're like, man, I'm not at my best right now, you know, but the assessment will always, will help you get back on track, you know, because it's kind of like a self-check. And understanding that, you know, you are in charge of your mindset and you are in charge of this business. So what you allow will continue. So making choices and understanding that if I don't like what's happening, I'm the only one that can implement change, and starting to implement slow changes into the business that will, you know, be for the better.
Yeah, definitely. And my mindset is so huge right now, and there's so much stuff that you can like read and listen to and all of that now to keep your mindset positive as much as possible, because you can't be positive 24/7 all day long every day. Of course you can't, but majority of the time you can if you try, and even if it means that you just learn how to do that positive mindset while you're in the salon in front of people, it's the main thing.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Nina, I'm so grateful for you coming on. I know it's like really early in the morning for you.
That's okay. I'm up early. No, I'm so honored. I was so happy that you asked. So thank you so much. This has been great.
You're welcome. And where can people find you if they want to get in touch or find out about your services?
Yes. So I live on Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram. So it's my full name. So Nina Tulio. And I literally live on Instagram. Of course, I have a Facebook page as well, 1N Agency, and my website, it's 1nagency.com, and it's the number 1nagency.com. But I have a ton of free guides and things that you can download to kind of help spark your business, give you some inspiration. I really focus on the inspiration and motivational side, and self, working on self first so you can grow a sustainable business. So yeah, hop on over and check me out.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We would love to hear what you thought about this episode.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Please leave a review and share on social media tagging @KG Salon so we can share.
I always follow them.
Until next time, have an amazing, successful week.